The boulders and rocks is what I want to talk about. How you can create goals that will really make a difference. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Stahl and I'm the lead trainer at Perfect Life. Boulders is an old concept. Boulders and rocks, the big things in life. It's a metaphor used by, among other people, Stephen Covey. Now, it means that in your life you can fit at any given time a certain big rocks or boulders. And these rocks could be anything from work-related stuff like the budget process or Project X or Project Y, or it could be stuff in your own life, like you want to run the Berlin Marathon, you want to become better at prioritizing things or delegating stuff if you're a leader. Now all of these boulders, they fit into a big bowl. And this is a nice metaphor to have. In this big bowl or this big jar, you fit maybe 8, 10 of these big boulders at any given time. So if you pick a time from now and 6 months forward, that's what you want to have, the perspective of when these 6 months have passed and I'm looking back. Am I impressed by myself? Have I gotten these things rolling, or have I been prioritizing other things? So, for example, if you have these big rocks or boulders in place in the jar, can you fit some more stuff? Yes, you can. You can pour a lot of small pebbles. And these small pebbles, they're the stuff that takes, 3-4 sessions, 3-hour sessions. It's like maybe you're fully booked with all your big rocks and boulders, but someone says, hey, could you sit in the board of your child is doing the gymnastics and we need someone to help out. It's just like 3-4 board meetings the next semester, and you go like, yeah, okay. And then maybe you sign up for that steering committee or the Christmas committee or the planning committee or whatever it is that you don't really plan when you design your boulders and rocks. And instead, you end up trying to fit these things into. And it really works if you just pour these pebbles into this big jar where you already have your boulders. And then, of course, you can fit in even smaller stuff. You can pour sand, finely grained sand, and it just trickles down in between the boulders and rocks and the pebbles. And that sand, it represents those things that take you half an hour. When you have your day planned and you go like, today is going to be a fantastic day. I'm going to really get some job done. And then someone says, oh, would you mind checking this before we send it out to the client? It's just 20 minutes. You're so good with numbers. And you go like, oh, I really don't have time for that. Or it's when someone says in the morning, do you mind sitting in? We have this client meeting and it's going to be really intense. We need someone with your expertise. Just 20 minutes. And you say yes, because you know you can squeeze it in. And it's not done yet. Because when you have this jar with your boulders, and then you also have the small pebbles, and you also pour the sand in it, then you can still pour water into it. You can fit lots of water into a jar with rocks and pebbles and sand. You can fit a lot of water. The water are the tiny distractions. It's when you and I have a good conversation and it goes bing, and you just check the email or text message or and you're like, oh, that wasn't important. And then you lost the thread. What were we talking about? So the drops of water is when you just get distracted. You see a bird. Oh, what was that email I was going to write? And we lose focus. That's the water. Now the key to this metaphor of the boulders, the rocks, so to speak, and the pebbles and the sand and the water, it isn't that we can always fit in more stuff in our life. It really is about how we prioritize, because here's the thing. If we start with the water, and then we add some sand, and then we throw in all those pebbles, and then we try to fit the boulders, the really important stuff, here's a news flash. You won't be able to fit in the boulders. You need to start with the boulders. If you start with those big rocks, the boulders, if you start with those, Then you can fit in some pebbles, you can fit in the sand, you can fit in the water. But if you don't start with the rocks, the big things, the important stuff, then I promise you, you will have to take away maybe 2 or 3 of those 8 or 10 big important things that you want to get accomplished, the goals you have for the next 6 months. And here's a big question for you. What will you take away? Will you take away the stuff that other people expect of you? The budget process, the project X, the project Y? Will you take away those things? Or will you compromise with the stuff where you only disappoint yourself? I won't be able to run the marathon this year either. I don't have time for all that exercise. Well, maybe next year, or the year after that, or the year after that. We tend to prioritize the rocks, the boulders that are important to others because we don't want to fail others. But we are so easy and comfortable on disappointing ourselves. That's why you need to define, write it down. Write down 10 things that you want to be proud of 6 months from now, more or less. Yeah? 10 things that you want to be proud of. And I always recommend that you do 3 things that are personal development. Stuff you want to do. Learn a new language, run a marathon, get fit for the summer, whatever. Yeah? 3 things that are important to you. And then 3 things that are important for your professional development. Like I want to get certified in this, or I want to finish that education, or I want to get better at delegating to my team, I want to be better at strategic thinking in my management team, whatever. 3 things that are professional. 3 personal, 3 professional, and then 3 things that contribute to the greater good. If you're in a company, how can my team work with that team? How can I help that colleague? How can I contribute to something that is bigger than myself? And it could also be stuff like I want to work in a soup kitchen and do something good for my local community. Something that is greater than just you. 3 things personal, 3 things professional, and 3 things that contribute to a greater good. Those are the boulders. Those are the big rocks. Those are the ones that you have to start with. Good luck.